So today, we're going to talk about something that could totally change how we think about getting around our cities. And no, it's not another giant electric SUV or some super fast sedan. It's a tiny, single-seat electric vehicle from Japan called the Mibot. All right, let's dive right in. This thing, the Mibot, comes from a startup in Hiroshima called Kei Motors, and it's a completely fresh take on personal transport. I mean, you really have to forget everything you think you know about how big a car should be.
So just how small are we talking about here? I mean, when you ask if it's the smallest EV ever built, you have to realize the Mibot doesn't just fit into the compact category, it's kind of in a league of its own.
And this chart just illustrates it perfectly. I mean, look at these numbers. The Mibot is only 8 feet long. To give you some perspective, that's so small you can literally, and I mean literally, fit it inside a big commercial van like a Toyota Hiace. It makes a car we already think of as small, like the Chevy Bolt, look absolutely massive next to it.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Kei Motors doesn't even call the Mibot a car. For them, it's a mobility robot. They really see it as this perfect middle ground for getting around by yourself, a step up from an e-bike, but not a full-on car.
So that kind of begs the question, right? Why would a country like Japan, which is already famous for its super efficient design and tiny Kei cars, need something even smaller? Well, the answer is kind of wrapped up in this weird puzzle happening in Japan's auto industry. You see, while Japan's legacy automakers absolutely perfected hybrid cars, they've been really slow to jump into the all-electric game. And that's left them kind of lagging behind everyone else, which has created this huge opening for new, nimble startups like Kei Motors to come in with some really radical new ideas. And here's the core idea, straight from the company itself. They're saying that the cars we drive are just way too big for what we actually use them for. I mean, think about it. Your daily commute, a quick run to the store, how often is there anyone else in the car with you? And this slide just lays out that disconnect so clearly. The reality for most of us is we're driving short distances by ourselves, but our cars, they're designed with 4, 5, even 7 seats, with huge batteries for long-range trips we almost never take. That gap, what they call over-specification, is just a massive waste of money and energy. So this is the exact problem the Mibot was built to solve. It's not trying to be the perfect car for every single situation. Nope. It's a purpose-built, laser-focused solution to fix that one big inefficiency in how we travel every single day.
And that laser focus on efficiency, well, it starts with the price tag. They're projecting a cost of around $7,500. At that price, the Mibot isn't just a cool idea, it's a genuinely affordable alternative for your daily drive.
And the specs? They're perfectly matched for that job. A 62-mile range is way more than enough for city commuting. A 5-hour charge time using a regular wall outlet means it's full and ready to go every single morning. This thing isn't built for a road trip across the country. It's built for smart, efficient city living. But don't think for a second that small and efficient has to mean boring. Kei Motors is adamant that the Mibot has to be absolutely adorable and give you a sense of excitement. It's even got an 8-inch touchscreen and air conditioning. The whole point is to make something people actually love to drive every day. Now, what's really important to understand here is that the Mibot is way more than just some quirky little vehicle. Its arrival really signals a much bigger global shift in how we're starting to think about getting around our cities. It's tapping right into this huge trend we're seeing called micromobility. As more and more of us pack into cities, there's this growing demand for smaller, better solutions. Things like e-bikes, scooters, and now tiny cars like the Mibot that can just zip through city streets without any fuss. And this is where you see a major disconnect. For years, right, we've heard the big car companies talk a big game about becoming mobility providers. But what do they keep building? The same huge, expensive cars they always have. It feels like it's the startups who are actually building the tools for this new future of mobility. So where does this little mobility robot go from here? And maybe more importantly, what does its arrival mean for the future of how all of us get from point A to point B? Well, things are moving incredibly fast. Kei Motors was only founded back in 2022, and they're already planning to get the first vehicles to customers in 2026. This isn't some far-off dream. This is happening right now. And get this, we're not just talking about a prototype gathering dust in a lab somewhere. The company has already locked in 3,000 pre-orders in just its first round. So yeah, the demand for something like this is definitely there. At the end of the day, the Mibot might be a Japanese solution for a very specific Japanese problem,
But it really forces all of us to ask a tough question. What do we really need a vehicle for? Do you really need 5 seats and 300 miles of range for a 10-minute drive to work? The Mibot seems to be betting that the answer is no, and that a smaller, smarter future is right around the corner.